freaks! Get the fuck! Get up!
Before it happened, the world was ordinary, divided, restless, drowning in noise. Then came the hum, a signal from deep space, folding itself into our satellites, our blood, our minds. Governments called it the greatest discovery in human history, but it wasn't discovery. It was infection. This is the story of that signal, of the people it changed, and of a woman who refused the cure. Her name is Carol Sturka, a best-selling author who hates the book she writes and hates, even more, the idea of giving up the one thing that's hers, misery. Pluribus begins where most sci-fi myths do, with a message from the stars, but then it does something different. It asks, who would send an instruction that rewires the human heart, and why? It starts small, a frequency picked up by astronomers, a pattern. Scientists play it like a tune, and like trained minds, they map it. 4 tones, 4 residues, a recipe that reads like molecules. Guanine, uracil, adenine, cytosine. In the lab, it points to RNA, the little cousin to DNA that runs our cells, that viruses exploit, that life uses to shape itself. In Pluribus, that recipe becomes an algorithm for feeling, a psychic glue that knits billions into one mood. Now pause and think about that for a second. It's a message not in words, but in biology. Not instructions for building a ship, but instructions for building a mind. Astronomers triangulate it roughly 600 light years away. By the time the pattern becomes viral, the change is already underway. Crime falls off, wars stop, people smile in the street, and those smiles are not relief so much as the same expression, copied from a single template. If the universe sent us therapy, it also left behind a puzzle. Who created a nucleotide tune that imitated a virus of joy? Theories proliferate. We lay them out like suspects. Number 1, maybe it's an alien benevolence, a civilization so advanced it can compose at the level of biochemistry. Why? To end suffering, to save species from self-destruction. If you've seen Contact or Arrival, you know the romantic version, cosmic neighbors who want to hell. We can picture them as star-faced Medici, hands outstretched, the universe as a club offering membership. Beat. But this theory demands a moral judgment. Is happiness forced still happiness? And would an intelligence that can send RNA across 600 light years be humane? Pluribus forces us to say, maybe not. Another suspect is not a conscious benefactor, but a cosmic accident, a natural phenomenon, a pattern created by cosmic chemistry that looks like information to our instruments, yet was never meant for us. Think of it like a radio fossil. We read meaning into it because we are human. Pluribus plays with this. Is the joining a message or a mirror? Either way, the effect is real, and that's the nightmare. Theory 3 could be time travel of a sort. Humans from a future that has already solved misery, sending back the code. They deploy it as an act of mercy or control. It's a favorite sci-fi solution. We become our own saviors or jailers. This idea is delicious because it folds blame inward. It suggests we're already capable of designing an emotional virus, we just haven't admitted it yet. Or imagine corporations. Think of Silicon Valley's code that optimizes for engagement. Scaling up to the planetary level, would a consortium of academics and companies weaponize well-being if they could? Some articles and interviews around Pluribus hint at the show's modern anxieties. About AI, about surveillance, about the seductive logic of optimization. Vince Gilligan, who cut his teeth on moral slow burns, seems intent on that unease. Last suspect could be that we're a program and the signal is an update, a patch that misfires. It's a clean explanation for a messy feeling, a maintenance operation that turned into a mandate. If that's true, the makers are far away and indifferent. Any of these explanations fits into the show. That's the brilliance. Pluribus doesn't give us a single god, it gives us choices, and then makes us live with them. Let's get granular. In episode 1, scientists reconstruct the 4-tone pattern into a nucleotide sequence. They treat it like code, they synthesize it, they test. The signal is, in effect, an instruction set for the neurochemical pathways of empathy and reward. That is the show's central conceit, emotion as executable code. Gilligan uses Carol's stubborn misery to dramatize the cost of a tidy world. Critics have praised Seehorn's performance for making that personal cost visible. Let's get into detective mode. We assemble evidence from the show, the marketing, and the cultural fingerprints around it, and then we pick the top 3 plausible senders. Theory A. Civilizational mercy. If an alien intelligence sent it intentionally, what would their motive be? The obvious, prevent self-destruction. But the more interesting motive is evolutionary engineering. They don't just stop wars, they reshape the adaptational pressures that produced us. That explains why the signal uses RNA. It's a universal chemistry. Biology is life's common tongue. The show teases us with this cosmic moral. If happiness is a fix, is freedom the cost? Theory B. Human project. Humans are narcissistic enough to imagine saving themselves across time. A future society sending back an emotional antiseptic makes sense narratively and thematically. It's also cruel in its humor. We did this to ourselves because we couldn't wait to be better people. If true, the show becomes a morality play about hubris. Theory C. An instrument of control. Finally, the signal as policy. It's the cheapest explanation for immediate uplift. A small number of actors could deploy a broadcast that hijacks reward systems. The marketing, that hotline that calls you Carol, like is the show's meta wink that world building blurs into activism. Who benefits from uniform happiness? Institutions that rely on conformity. Gilligan frames it as an optimizers versus rebels drama. To understand Pluribus, we must place it alongside its cousins. In Arrival, we see language as a force that reshapes thought. In Arrival, the alien language rewires perception of time. Pluribus uses molecular language to rewire feeling. Both stories ask whether new communicative modes change not only what we know, but who we are in contact, the romantic idea of benevolent, distant senders who gift knowledge. Here, the moral calculus is similar. Is knowledge a gift if it rewrites choice? In Annihilation, the biological uncanny, alien influence altering life's code into beautiful, dangerous forms. Pluribus shares that unease. Biology becomes the pen, emotion the page. Gilligan's approach borrows from X-Files' paranoia, Black Mirror's techno-moral puzzles, and the character work of Better Call Saul. The result? A sci-fi thriller that keeps one foot in slow-burn human drama and the other in existential dread. Critics have noticed the lineage and applauded the blend. Here's the theory I can't stop thinking about. The signal was sent by a civilization grappling with a tragedy of its own, one that used the same fix generations earlier and discovered that, though war stops, creativity and grief fade. They sent the joining not to enforce joy, but to test whether a species will choose identity over ease. In other words, the signal is less an instruction than a cosmic experiment to find out which species will resist a perfect, bland bed of contentment. That theory satisfies Pluribus thematically. It mirrors our anxieties about sacrifice for a greater good. It's elegant, cruel, and frankly, the kind of moral puzzle Vince Gilligan likes to leave as a smoking crater. Pluribus invites an uncomfortable self-question. If someone taught us to be happy overnight, would we take it? And if we accepted, which parts of ourselves would we mourn? Gilligan doesn't just craft suspense. He makes us complicit in the very drama we consume. That's why the show lands. It's not content about spectacle. It's content about choice. The joining is a mirror. The viewers who lean into Carol's stubbornness are choosing to see the cost.